live from New York, it's Ask an Engineer.
And now you know how many people are in space.
That's right.
3.
Yeah.
Welcome to yet another wonderful, amazing, makery episode of Ask an Engineer, the premier, longest-running live engineer asking show on the internet that we know of. We've been doing this for over a decade. I'm Lady Ada. With me is Mr. Lady A. We're broadcasting live from the Adafruit factory in downtown Manhattan. The factory behind us is not a green screen. It's real. This is where we do all the testing, shipping, manufacturing, coding, demoing, tutorializing, photography, videoing of all the content and products that you know and love that make dreams come true. But tonight, for the next hour, we're going to tell you all about what's happening in the maker community, online, Python coding, new products, maybe some it's not out yet, and more. Mr. Lady Ada is ready to tell you all about it. Tell them all about it, Mr. Lady Ada.
On tonight's show, the code is Vote L'Amour. It's pretty obvious why.
Wait, what?
Yeah, there's a few more days left to vote for Our Lady Ada for Women in Open Source Award. So I'm making the code Vote L'Amour this week. You could check out the chat rooms and get the link, but Women in Open Source, L'Amour was nominated. So you can go over there and vote on Red Hat site, and you could also remember to use the code and save 10% off. It's up to 11:59 p.m. tonight, except for gift certificates and AdaVox.
You can even do both.
And it supports us, an open source hardware company that's 100% woman-owned here in New York City, independent. We make the hardware here. We pay people. We have 401ks. We have things like paid day off for charity. That only works out because y'all are buying stuff and you're using the code, and we're shipping it out to you. So please do that. Show and tell people around the world, showing and sharing the projects. Lady will go over that and more. Back to mailbag. Stop by, read your emails to us. Python and hardware news. We have a giant amount of Python on hardware news this week. Time travel, look around in the world of makers, hackers, artists, and engineers. Made in New York City, some factory footage. 3D printing videos, new products. We have some top secret. We'll answer your questions, and we do that not only tonight, but all the time at adafruit.it/discord, adafruit.it/discord. We also will talk about another place you can get your questions answered about Python tonight. But this is our server, and towards the end of the night, we will answer your questions in the
Go
chat.
register now so that when we start answering questions, you'll be ready.
Yep. We'll do some trivia questions. We'll give away some at the end of the show. All that and more on, you guessed it,
Boom.
Ask an Engineer. All right, Lady Ada. Well, remember, vote L'Amour. That's the code tonight.
I can't vote for myself. I guess I could, but
No, I don't think you should.
I don't think I should. I think it's like you can't nominate yourself or vote for yourself.
Okay, so we do some free stuff as you check out in the store. What's the free stuff?
I love to tell people all about it. Every time you order stuff from the Adafruit store, not only can you get 10% off when you use that Vote L'Amour code, and maybe vote for me, but you'll also get some free stuff as you add more to your cart. So the more you buy, so if you have one big order, you'll get more stuff. So that's why it's like good to make one big order. At $99 or more, you get a free Perma-Proto half-size solderless breadboard adapter thingy over there. It's a PCB that is the same size and shape as a solderless breadboard. So when you're done with your project, you can move your project parts and wires and cables over, solder them up, make it permanent. We see these a lot at like events when people are like, they want to make their project nice and sturdy. That's free with your order at $99 or more. $149 or more, you'll get a selection of one of these cool enamel pins. We have all these pins, and we wanted to give some away to people. So when you order, you'll place your order over $149, you will get a different one each time if you register. So if you register an account, we'll keep track of which ones we've already given to you, so you won't get the same one again. Otherwise, you're going to get a random one. That's why you should make an account before you place your order. $199 or more, you'll get free UPS ground in the continental United States. That's the lower 48 states. UPS ground shipping is a reliable, trackable shipping method. It's insured. It's going to get you. If it doesn't get you, we'll replace it. It's trackable, so you know exactly when it's going to show up. We like UPS ground. It's really great. It doesn't go through the postal system, which is always a little bit not as reliable. And then that's $199, and then $299 or more, you'll get a free Circuit Playground Express. This in here, our premier educational learning platform. Someone recently, who's in the media, contacted and said, I don't understand or believe how many ways you can program the Circuit Playground Express. You can program it with Arduino, with CircuitPython, with MakeCode, with maker blocks.
We were
with
in a
code.org CS discoveries. With like
there's a lot.
C, C++.
Yeah,
you
so
probably
what's
need
funny
an embed if you wanted to.
Yeah, it was a bit of a fact check. They're like, are you sure it can be used in all these ways?
EduBlocks?
Yeah, so the answer is yes.
The answer is yes.
Microbots, EduBlocks, all the blocks.
All the blocks, maker blocks. So you get
MakeCode.
10 neopixels, 2 buttons, sensor, switches, capacitive touch, built-in flash. It's kind of everything and everything. And we have, if you want one for free, we'll maybe tell you a little bit later about how you can get one for free as well. But that's at $299, and of course, at every level, you get all the previous ones as well. So we're at $300 worth of stuff, and you get all of that you see here.
Okay. Lady talked about the shipping, U.S., UPS. Don't care about weight and postal, international, DHL. If you're in Manhattan, check out before 11 a.m. And if you're zip code supported, you can get the same day. All right, Lady Ada, we had a epic show and tell. Lots of people came on.
This was the most important show and tell we've ever had.
This was, I really think everyone should go back and watch this after the show. And, you could do this thing with YouTube where if you right-click option click during a certain spot, you can send a link to a certain time in it. Definitely send this to someone who has someone special in their life, or everyone has been helped by someone, or everyone's made something for someone. And Chris Young, his dad just passed away, and he shared a life of making and sharing, and it was one of the most touching tributes. It was beautiful. So it's one of those things where share it with friends and share this. I think that's the way all of us can live on, and the things that we make, and we see others making it. And in typical Chris Young fashion, he had an excellent presentation, and all the things that he does that makes Chris.
It was cool to see all the things that Chris's father
decades,
built. From fountain. He renovated the doors at the church. And made a christening fountain, and also built the house they live in because he didn't want to wash the dishes. So
watch the entire thing. And like I said, if you're curious about what this maker movement can be, and Chris is the best of us. So and his dad was always helping him behind the scenes. We'd always see him. Chris has been on the show and tell for almost as long as there's been a show and tell. So
and it's cool to see.
Thank you for sharing that, Chris. I know he's watching. Okay.
I just love to see how I imagine that it's not that you couldn't do accessibility tech 20 or 30 years ago, but how amazing it must be that people can now share information online, and trade tips and go to events. And it's there's such a strong community all the time. People of course have their local community, whether it's your family or your friends or a local group or a care center. But it's so cool that we have this global baker community that shares tips and tricks. And I was talking with Bill Binko, he said is there a good sip and puff sensor that you can stock? And I actually went and found a good one and made a breakout for it. And then he used it in a device for a person. He showed a photo of this person. And I'm that's neat to see I heard something, and then people say, people always ask in interviews, they're always how do you come up with ideas? What's your innovation? I'm just I just listen to what people need and want. They'll tell you if you're listening, but if you don't listen, you'll never know. And when people say we need a sip and puff sensor, I'm I'll go find the best one that's digital, and I'll make sure there's drivers for Raspberry Pi and CircuitPython and Arduino, and make sure that it works well, and so then people can use it. That's what open source is about.
So this is a really special show and tell, so please, after the show, watch it. And share it with people. Okay.
And there's other people who
else was on show and tell?
We also had Brent, who's an Adafruit developer who writes code for us, and he is working on Adafruit I/O for CircuitPython using the PyPortal, so using an ESP32 as a Wi-Fi coprocessor. And he's writing up a library to interface with Adafruit I/O easily, so you can push and receive data. And he's got temperature pushing, and he's using the terminal of the PyPortal, which people, that's coming out in 4.0, and when people see it, they're going to be really into it. Noah and Pedro showed off this week's 3D build, which is the Obsidian sword. This is another project from Steven Universe. So it's a sword it has lava in it. I guess you pull it out of your mouth. And it's using a Circuit Playground Express and a NeoPixel alligator clipped to make the sword. It's all from foam core, so no 3D printing or special crafting required. JP also did a PyPortal project, which will be shown off tomorrow on his show. It's a quotes player, and he has it embedded into a booklet, into like a fake book, so you can have a literary quote device. So that'll be tomorrow on JP's workshop. Kattni is working on, Kattni didn't show up, but she wants people to know that she's writing her second driver, the VEML 7700 sensor, and she's making great progress and learning a lot about writing drivers. Scott had his CircuitPython controlled Game Boy Pocket showing off, and the Adafruit text not only goes down, but now goes side to side. Very big deal. Got that VSync pulse happening. Very important, so you know when you can draw to the screen. Scott will also be at Pi Cascades, which is, I guess, a yearly conference that moves between 3 locations in the Pacific Northwest.
We'll have a whole big segment about all these events right now.
Curious? Hold on tight. We'll talk about it.
It is a Python year. There is so many things with Python and now Python on hardware.
Did you know that it's the fastest growing programming language?
Yeah, we wrote about this a few times. Okay. And
just wanted you to know.
It's become the language for curriculums for lots of countries, and not only in the U.S., but in certain schools, but entire nations now. They're like, we're going to teach programming and we're going to use Python. So it's catching on.
Very exciting.
Yeah. Big futures.
I know.
In that Python.
It snakes its way.
Yeah.
Mike Barella wrote up a guide and showed off the demo for a CircuitPython controlled heart rate sensor using Circuit Playground Express. You can use the light sensor in NeoPixel to shine green light through your skin, bounce off your red blood cells, and the more hemoglobin you have, the more light is absorbed. And so if you take the inverse of the data, you can see, a heart rate pulse. Very basic, but you can sense your heart rate with the Circuit Playground Express. And he has a guide all about that. We'll talk about that soon. And then, of course, Chris Young came by and gave this amazing tribute to his dad, the best maker he's ever met, who's been Chris's hands to build a lot of the projects and demos that Chris has shown off, and that have been shared with people. So Chris would write all the code and the design, everything, and then if you just need someone to solder something, that's where his dad would come in, and also a sheet metal bender by trade, and was very handy. Had a lot of skills with metal and wood and soldering, and a jack of all trades. By sure we will greatly miss him. Bill Binko showed off a slideshow of the AITA event that he was participating in, showing off some of the really cool demos that people were building and making. The kids from robotics competitions who came by and were helping people make assistive technology. He said it was a really cool, inclusive event. There's a lot of people who were maybe underrepresented normally in technology events or robotics events, but came out because they wanted to participate and help others with assistive tech. He also showed off this custom sip and puff Feather nRF52840 based device that converts sips and puffs to Morse code, which is I love this combination of ham radio and modern sensors and CircuitPython and Bluetooth. I mean, this is so cool. It's just such a neat mix of all the best that we've had over many decades. So hopefully he'll publish that up and people can also build it, because it looks like it would be really handy for a lot of people to make a generic sip and puff to keyboard converter. Dan C. Showed off what he only held up last week. He's got a better internet connection now. A custom feather wing that allows you to display e-ink displays on your feather. He's got the quotes demo going on a Huzzah. Nice work with that e-ink adapter. We have some more e-ink stuff coming down the pike too, so you'll be really excited to see some of the stuff that we've got. And Eduardo, this is, I think, his first time coming on the show and tell, but totally blew us away. He also is his first CircuitPython project. But he donates blood often, and eventually was asked to donate platelets.
Yeah, so instead of
10 minutes,
10 minutes in
2.5
one arm,
hours.
2.5 hours you can't move, and it was platelets. And so he needed to have a way to just sit still.
And you can't move, twitch your hand, you can move your wrist, but your forearm is pinned down while they actually don't know what they do.
He used CircuitPython with Circuit Playground.
And he made a mouse.
A mouse that you move.
Using the accelerometer, so it's a tilt mouse.
And he was watching Ask an Engineer, and he got someone to take the photos.
Yeah, he had a little video, and
Yeah.
then there's two buttons, so he can hold it and tilt it, and then it was really interesting because it was basically assistive tech for this 2.5 hour event, and he was like, he actually understands now, like, hey, this is why assistive tech is so great. Like, normally he doesn't need a tilt mouse, but at this
Yeah.
time he did. And there are times when people are like, maybe they're going through a procedure, maybe they broke their arm, and for temporarily they could really use assistive tech. So assistive tech is for everybody.
All of us will need to stay still while something painful or something that we're just waiting to get over.
Or maybe
what's
it's like
happened
you're nursing or something, and you're like, I can't
Or something,
get up
yeah.
and move, so but I still want to watch my videos.
Yeah. So, before we stop this segment, move on to the next one, I was just thinking, out of all the things you can decide to spend your time on if you want to have a hobby, there is one that's starting to become the one where the side effect of it is something so special that I don't know, there's not that many things that are like this. So if you do open source software and open source hardware, a side effect is your stuff is probably going to help someone. Imagine
Yeah.
if you're just your hobby for fun. If you never even set out to say I want to make a sip and puff thing or whatever, you can work on a little piece of code or just do something with hardware or software right now. And if you do open source specifically, you can end up helping someone more than you'd ever know, and you may never know. But what a neat side effect! Sometimes hobbies don't have great side effects. Sometimes,
It's true.
sometimes,
It's true.
sometimes they're destructive things,
Yeah.
But this is one of them that you could really have a big impact, and I think that's rare and unique. So, anyways,
If you see also the photos from Bill Binko at this event with these robotics team kids, and they all look so happy, like they're having a good time while making stuff for other people. Like
Yeah.
it's really fun.
I think the combination of software and hardware, because you have to eventually be somewhere in person. Physical things matter,
Yeah.
and I think that combination of the open source ethics and values of sharing, it just makes that happen with the hardware. So, anyways, if you're ever looking for information, or if someone's like, I'm not sure what I want to get into with this hobby, or what are there things to do, maybe show them some of these videos.
Yeah, you can inspire them.
Also, if you're on the show and tell, you get a sticker.
Don't forget, email support@adafruit.com to get your sticker if you've
Okay.
been on show and tell. All right, moving on along.
This is part of the Adafruit live series of shows. JP is going to be doing his live show tomorrow. Here's a little bit of a preview. This is the quote PyPortal. We're about to launch PyPortal, so we have a lot of PyPortal projects, so you can watch that tomorrow. Back to the mailbag. This is your letters that you send to us. We read these every week at the State of the Fruit meeting. I also read them here to you. This is from Scott. I got my AdaBox today, and first and foremost, I wanted to say thanks. It's completely awesome, far exceeding my expectations. I've been a programmer for over 20 years, and I've worked in a lot of programming language, but only within the last year I've gotten into things like Raspberry Pi and Arduino. Your site and content you put out in various other platforms have taught me, and no doubt countless others, so much. I primarily got the AdaBox subscription as a way to help support your company, so hopefully you can inspire others to take on new challenges. Scott.
Thanks, Scott.
All right. Don't forget, we're in Discord, adafruit.it/Discord. We'll be answering questions there towards the end of the show, and also 24/7, there's people that will help you out as well. We got some MakeCode stuff going on. Hot off the press, these are some graphics from our friends at Cartoon Network. We did a partnership with Microsoft and Cartoon Network, so you could do projects with the Cartoon Network characters with MakeCode and Circuit Playground. You can go to createwithcn.com, or you can go to makecode.adafruit.com. And the cool thing is, if you want to get a young person interested in electronics and coding, and they just happen to like Steven Universe and Cartoon Network,
A lot of kids do.
we got something for you there. So that's another road into
It's
this
a
lifelong
great way to
hobby and journey.
A great way to introduce people to coding and electronics is have them want to build something that they see. If somebody has a project they really want, they'll learn any skill necessary
That's right.
to get there.
Okay, on JP's show every week we have MakeCode Minute, and we're going to play that right now.
All right, take it away.
In Arcade, we're going to have a look at enemies and effects, as well as lives and power-ups. So taking a look at the session here, I've moved my onStart block over here on the right, and so you can see it's getting pretty big. Now we've built a sprite for Adabot, our player. We've built a sprite for the battery, which is considered food. And down at the bottom, I've now got a sprite for Sparky. That's the name of the variable I gave it. And I've created this artwork for Sparky, the blue smoke monster, and I've made him of kind enemy. So that has some implications we'll take out in a moment, but the first thing I want to do is get him moving. So I've set Sparky to a particular position in XY space on the screen, and then I've set a what's called an effect, different from effects. I've set an effect of bounce on wall. So when he hits the wall, he will bounce off of it at an incident angle. And then I have Sparky's velocity set. Now the velocity is the direction and speed with which he's moving, and I've set it so that he basically moves in a diagonal. Now the other thing I've done here that's important is I've set this on sprite block here. On sprite kind of player overlaps another kind of sprite that's of kind enemy, and what happens? Well, first I'm going to zap Adabot out of there, so Adabot sort of seems to bounce off of Sparky, but I'm also going to set an effect. So this block right here says start a spray effect, and it runs for a second, and then I also change the life value by -1. So if we have a look at this in action. Now what you can see is Sparky is moving around and oh my gosh, he's touched me. So when I get hit by him, I spray the effects, and when I touch the battery, I get a little heart effect, and you'll notice my hearts go up in the left corner, and when I get hit by Sparky, the hearts go down. Now watch what happens when we crash into him more times than we have lives. Game is over, and it also tells us our score. So if we take a look at this one other block here, it's on life 0, and then we have game over. So you can tell it's got some very high-level commands that allow you to get your game up and running quickly before we have to dive into small details. So that is how you can create an enemy in Arcade as well as set up effects.
Okay, so that's MakeCode Minute. We'll have another one tomorrow on JP's show. And don't forget, if you have a Circuit Playground Express, go to makecode.adafruit.com, plug it in, take it for a spin.
Try it out.
Super easy.
One of the many languages sports, but definitely one of the easiest.
Another one in sports is Python.
Oh boy, is it time for the CircuitPython?
Python on hardware news. There is so much going on this week. This is going to be a big chunk of the show, and I had to break it up into lots of different pieces. So here's some big news. PyCon is coming up May 1st to 9th. Last year we were a sponsor. Everyone who was a participant, over 3,000 people, got a Gemma, specifically programmed with CircuitPython. This year, we got a few things going on. First up, this is the countdown timer that we have an upcoming product called PyPortal.
I'll even zoom in.
So this is real. This is right now. This is running CircuitPython on PyPortal, and this is saying there's 53 days, 12 hours, and 31 minutes. And then the PyPortal underneath, that is what displays during the event, and it's Dan, Kattni, and Scott. And I just put that on another device just to show what it would be.
So when in 53 days, 12 hours and 31 minutes, it's going to display this?
Display that,
I
yeah.
can't wait.
Yeah, I mean, I might make other ones, but we'll check in with the PyCon PyPortal. This uses JSON, gets time live on the internet.
Yes.
And then it does some cool stuff in Python, and then it does a countdown clock.
Ding dong.
You can swap out the graphics. Doing something like this in any other platform is really hard. This took 5 minutes.
Yes.
So why is this a big deal, and why do we need a countdown? Well,
Because
we need to make like 5,000 or so Circuit Playground Expresses special edition. DigiKey and Adafruit are teaming up, and everyone at PyCon is getting a DigiKey, Adafruit, Circuit Playground Express with CircuitPython on it and a bunch of goodies. Thank you so much, DigiKey, for helping this happen. This is thousands of people. This will be one of the biggest chunks of Circuit Playground Expresses that are going out in the world. We're considered the swag bag sponsorship, and I want to thank DigiKey for helping. Out of all the electronic distributors out there, there's one right now that I can say that's helping get Python into the hands of the most people out there and doing a lot of good for the communities that are out there, and that's DigiKey. So thank you so much, DigiKey. we'll have more information about this. We have a lot of work to do because we only have this many days to make
No,
that
it's
many.
what? Oh my God, it just went down. It's one less minute.
Yeah, we have one less minute to do all this stuff.
We gotta hurry up. Get
anyways,
on it.
There'll be a lot of interesting things. We'll post up all this, and if you want to say thank you to DigiKey in some way, please do.
Say thanks, DigiKey. They went above and beyond to
Yeah.
help out, and they're so excited because they know, just as we know, that Python is the #1 growing programming language. It's coming to hardware. It makes it really easy to program hardware. Firmware development will be Python soon.
Yeah.
We don't predict the future. We just accurately describe what's happening right now.
Yeah.
All the new hardware that we see, people are like, "Oh, you program it in Python." That's what people want to do with hardware,
Yeah.
with IoT. We can't be trusted with C. I mean, I love the language, but we just can't be trusted with it. We can't manage memory buffers. We need something with exceptions. We need something that does memory management for us. Python is it. It's easy to use. It's so powerful. It's a perfect match for hardware.
So the best way to predict the future is to look around and put it in a weekly newsletter.
Ding.
That's what I found. So we're still working on Python 4. It's in various
We're getting
stages
closer.
of
Beta 2.
I want to say thank you to everyone for hitting the star button on our GitHub repo, github.com/Adafruit/CircuitPython. We hit 1,000 stars, and we also use that for, this is kind of our big news, we'll be launching PyPortal very soon. This is a low-cost IoT device. It can do cool things like figure out how many things you have on GitHub, like stars. It can do things like display your views on YouTube and subscribers. The beginning of the show, I had a video. This looks at a site that has a little bit of computery data called JSON, and it'll display it by reaching out on the internet, and it'll show how many people are in space. Turns out there's 3.
3.
We
We
made
didn't hard code it though. It really does look it up.
we made an Ask an Engineer countdown. We showed how many people were online on Discord. On Valentine's Day, we made an internet-connected Valentine's. This is the Evil Mad Scientist ones. I have the capacity
Yeah,
to love you.
they
This
have
is-
some hilarious engineering
Yeah,
Valentine's.
and this was a little quick video that I made that just shows it booting up and then going out and getting this information. This uses Twitter, and it gets the quotes from Dune QuoteBot, which is really neat. And I had all these custom graphics. This was really easy to make. This is a preview of maybe one of the most advanced conference badges that can do things like display QR codes and show calendar and link off to your LinkedIn profile or whatever else you want to do. It shows up as a USB drive, just like all of our other CircuitPython devices. We also have, this is Bitcoin. This shows you live data. Right now, this is what
The number only goes down. No, just kidding.
turns out. We posted this up on the Python Reddit, and we showed the number of subscribers on the Python Reddit, and then this got upvoted to the #1 post, and then the subscribers went up.
Sweet.
So that worked out. So that's a preview of what's going on with PyPortal. We'll have a little bit more about it later, but that is what we're up to now. Mikey Sklar did a cool project. It's on the blog. This is if you wanted to have blue lights in the morning when you wake up and kind of orangey, sunset lights.
It's like real life flux.
Amazing.
So we actually posted
Yeah.
about it in the biohacking newsletter, and I was like, "That's a cool project. Why don't you write it up?" And he did.
We'll be posting this soon. This is the CircuitPython boot sequence helper guide. This is the chart that Mike Burrell made. Our other big news is we met the folks who run Python Discord. This is the largest Python community on Discord, and they have an excellent group of helpers. And so if you want to, go to pythondiscord.com and you can join there. And we have like an exchange with our helpers and their helpers. So you'll be able to get Python help with them, and you'll be able, if you are on that server, get help with your microcontroller project. So we have a channel over there. Of course, I had to make this. This showed how many people were online on the Python Discord. And they have about 13,000 people. It's a really big, giant group of helpful folks that help people learn Python. Okay. In our newsletter, this was on Twitter. Thank you, dear Adafruit, for inspiring the next round of Splendor. This is a lot of kids using CircuitPython.
I think it looks like crickets, and
Yep.
they're making robots.
Sophie posted up this cool trick. This is if you happen to have a lot of code. This is using Evernote. So Sophie posted up. We have this newsletter. If you're keeping track of your code, this is a good way to do it.
Very handy. It's good because also it's online, so no matter where you are, you can always get to
Yeah.
your favorite code snippets.
I've been following this. This is SNECDE. It's an
SNEC.
IDE for development. We cover all types of Python on hardware.
Yeah, it's
in
like
our newsletter.
micro Python.
Yeah, it's tiny Python
ultra
that runs on an
tiny.
AVR.
Yeah.
Then this is coming along soon, so you'll see it. This is the GrowGuard Giant board, and it's a coming soon, but it's almost done. It's Linux on a Feather format, and it runs CircuitPython. This is some other Python on hardware news. This is another quote. This is an OLED bonnet, so you use a Raspberry Pi, and you could display quotes from around the web. This was a really cool command line thing that you could do to control your Raspberry Pi anywhere. It's from dataplicity.com.
Yeah.
So if you're looking to do device control and management and upgrades, I thought that was neat, so I put that in there. Really neat e-ink display. This is a smart calendar display with Raspberry Pi. And then, of course, this is a theremin that if you wanted to do something neat with a Raspberry Pi, you could.
Bleep, bloop, bleep, bloop.
Yeah, this is a lot of bleepy. And it was celebrating GPI 0, which Ben from Raspberry Pi
Yes.
had posted about, and on the Made with Moo blog by Nicholas. This was a pleasant surprise. We're just talking to the folks about this now. We saw this on CrowdSply. It's an upcoming Raspberry Pi hat that uses Seesaw and CircuitPython. It's from Robotic Masters. It's called the MMH hat, and it's an open source robotics controller. And they're primarily gearing this towards people who want to do self-driving cars.
Yeah, interesting.
So-
It's a specific kind of, like a donkey car or something. And It's
Yeah.
kind of neat. So it's specifically for self-driving cars, which is good because
Yep.
we have a Cricut hat and we have a Moto hat, but neither are like really car-centric. So it's going to be
Yep.
interesting to see what do people who self-driving cars really need.
Okay, there is a Windows installer for Raspberry Pi 3, so you can install full Windows 10 ARM64 onto a Raspberry Pi.
That sounds really cool because it used to be just IoT, but
Yeah.
now it's actually Windows.
And this is a cute MicroPython project. This is the B&O, and this is a really neat file system that's on here where you can click through to the different files, and you can see each .py. And then when you get to the one that you want, you can display it. And then this is a cube that runs on it, so you can choose cube.py.
Yeah.
All right. Lots of stuff going on with Moo. Nicholas did a poll. Should we keep older version of Python or drop it? Drop it. So
Drop it.
You'll see that there is a upcoming Moo soon.
Because Moo comes with, the Python inside of it. It's a kind of enclosed version, so it doesn't actually matter. You can't really change
There's
it.
a bunch of slides. If you're thinking about Moo and you're going to be doing a presentation or want to learn more, Nicholas had some slides about that. Brent did a talk yesterday, and you can read more about it, and I believe there's some slides and more, so look on the blog. Pi Cascades is coming up this weekend. You heard about that. Scott put out the call for anyone to come meet up with him. You'll know it's Scott because he has everything running CircuitPython and there's a keyboard sticking out of his backpack. So check that out. And there also will be a talk from Nina about Python on hardware. So there's a lot going on in events, and that's just to get started. There is a talk. This is the Anita Borg, Grace Hopper local, and this talk has, Vicky is going to be demoing MicroPython and Microbit and CircuitPython on a Circuit Playground Express. So that is February 27th
In Dublin.
in Dublin. There's also another event. Right now, we're almost hitting all the globe. February 23rd, that's coming up. This is in Rhode Island. Intro to Python, CircuitPython, and Circuit Playground Express by Ocean State Maker Mill. We have our usual libraries and more, and all the stuff going on.
Wait,
Linux
I've never
now.
seen the back of the Tux Penguin.
Yeah,
That's kind of weird.
this is like the other side of the moon.
I know. What's happening?
And then we also still have our call for translation. If you're just good at human spoken languages, we're looking for help with getting all the messages. We also have over 10,000 people in Discord now, and a lot of it is because they're going there for CircuitPython stuff. So this was the other PyPortal project that I built. This was to make sure I could see at a glance how many people are on our Discord server, because sometimes there's a lot, and I want to hop in what's going on over there, or sometimes I want to know what time of the day. So this was, I put it on this little spinny thing just to show, because there's no wires, it's wireless, it's battery powered, and this was to show that you could get data like that very easily on a low-cost IoT device and use Python to glue it all together.
All right, just gotta hint it up a little
yeah.
bit. Okay, 1320
Yeah,
almost.
that's how many we had up there. This is all in awesome CircuitPython. That's our GitHub repo that anyone can contribute. We have in case you missed it, where you can catch up with all these things. And I'm pleased to announce that we hit 5,000 subscribers on Adafruit Daily Python and Microcontrollers. It's our fastest growing newsletter ever.
And it's not just for Python microcontrollers. It also covers a lot of Python news too.
Yeah.
Like a lot of good
cover
stuff.
that.
So it's a good mix of hardware, software, Python, microcontrollers, MicroPython, CircuitPython, SNEC,
Yep.
all that good stuff. I read it. I learned something new. You'll be exposed to some really cool libraries and projects from the Python community.
It's a collection of all the cool things that a lot of people are doing, and that's why it's good, because it takes the best and the good and puts it all in a nice format.
It's only the good.
Yeah.
We just skimmed the good right off
Yeah.
and just buttermilked it.
All right, so that's Python on hardware this week. It's a lot. Okay. Time travel. Let's look around in the world of makers, hackers, artists,
Yeah.
and engineers.
What's
this
happening?
week, well, because the code was Vote Lamore, I have to explain what this is.
What is this?
This was, if you're just tuning in, so Lady Ada was nominated for a Woman in Open Source Award. Red Hat does these. You were nominated. And this is a quote from you. When we have welcoming communities of contributors, open source software gets better and more useful for everyone. So please go vote for our Lady
That's
Ada.
what I say. So say we all.
Also in the news, it was a anniversary of one of the first browsers. So you can now, and this is it's on our site and also in our newsletter, you can use one of the first browsers in your browser and see what your website looks like. This is from the Next operating system, and this was World Wide Web Browser. So you could check it out. It's really cool if you're a Next history fan.
I'm
Diane,
totally.
you
You know
can
what?
see
It actually
the
looks
first
so
browsers.
nice. Look at how nice that is. So elegant. So
It is.
clean.
Okay. We have an update to our Adafruit stickers app, and we have all these
stickers.
electronic symbols. What
See
are
the symbols.
these?
Diodes,
Yep.
capacitors, transistors, resistors
Okay.
have been added. Not only do we have, and also we have like the Grand Central down there, and we have our
Yeah,
self-driving
we
car.
did a big update.
So we have more stickers, and you can make little schematics now.
Okay. Don't forget jobs@adafruit.com. You can post your skills, or you can also post if you're a company who you're looking for. Open source hardware this week. Before we get to the guides, this is Feather.
It's Feather.
These are feathers.
How many do we have?
We have a lot. We have so much we had to make a graphic like this just to show them all off. Feather is kind of the standard
thing.
it's the standard for makers. It just happened. We didn't,
I read on a blog that it's a thing.
Yeah, Feather is the thing. So we have, if you go on github.com/Adafruit /awesome-feather, you can see what Mike Grell is working on. It is the massive feather guide. There are hundreds of different feather and feather wings out there now. So many we were getting stuck trying to capture them all in one spot because we would have them on blog posts. So we're just like, let's put it somewhere and let's make an awesome list. So that's what's there now. So do check that out. And it's all open source hardware. And this is the theme tonight. The more you give, the more you get back. So when we put the feather format out there, Particle adopted. All these other
That's
companies
right.
adopted it. What's the phrase that I've seen? It's like, if you light your candle with the flame, it doesn't diminish my flame.
Yeah.
It just grows the flame, and we all can go bright together.
Yeah.
That's what this is like.
Exactly.
A lot of people are carrying on the feather in lots of weird ways we would have never expected, but because you gave it out and said, here's how to do it, here's how to use it, here's all the code, here's everything.
Enjoy.
There's more feathers. So speaking of, we have 1,758 guides. There's a lot.
Wow, we passed 1750.
That's right.
This week was pretty epic.
Yeah. All right.
All right, so we have the MLX 393. That's the wide range 3-axis magnetometer. That's the new product from last week. Very nice magnetometer sensor that can measure very high, up to like millitesla range magnetic fields. So good for detecting magnets. Not as great for detecting Earth magnetic fields, but if you have like a physical magnet that's nearby, it can detect like the orientation and location of it. So that's kind of neat. Circuit scheme, list for CircuitPython. This actually goes with a CLI for CircuitPython at the top left. So David Stells is like a super Lisp scheme fan, I guess, and so am I. So he said, what would it take to run scheme or Lisp on CircuitPython? So he did. So you can actually load the Lisp interpreter basically into CircuitPython, and then you have a command line that's running within CircuitPython. You can enter in list and scheme commands, and you can control the GPIO and do some basic I2C interfacing as well. So he showed how to Lispify CircuitPython, and like they're not that dissimilar languages. I mean, they're both interpreted. They have lambdas. They have like context. So it's like there's a lot of stuff that actually does kind of go between the two. So if you are a scheme fan, if you took 6001 back when I did, and now it's in Python, but it used to be in Scheme, go relive those days and see if you can remember all the different implementations of CAD editor and implement those if they're missing in the Scheme CircuitPython, Circuit Scheme. We have a couple of micro guides, short guides from Noah and Pedro. One, how to make a PyPortal portable. If it's a PyPortal is meant to be driven off of USB, but let's say you want to take it on the road. Here's how you can use a power boost to make it portable. We just know that people are going to ask this question, so we want to show it. It's not designed to be battery powered. We wanted to make it USB only, but you can turn it into a portable device if you like. Also, using display I/O custom fonts on CircuitPython. CircuitPython display, which is coming in 4.0, has really excellent font support. You can load any font you like, and believe me, I've tried all sorts of fonts. All you have to do is convert it into BDF format, which is text readable. It's a portable font format. And you can use free software called FontForge to do it. It takes only a couple of seconds to do so. We have a guide on how to convert any TTF to BDF for inclusion, and then you can have these like gorgeous fonts on your display. We have the Circuitian Pi desk lamp that we talked about from Mikey Sklar. It's blue in the morning to help you wake up and red at night to help you go to sleep. It shows how to use time within Python and how to use neopixels. I was in CircuitPython to make a very basic but very handy project. A lot of people want like desk lamps that light up, or desk lights that light up in the morning. Last week's JP project from his workshop was CircuitPython BLE Rover. You might have been like, hey, we've had Rover projects before. Why this one? Well, this is the first one that's Bluetooth controlled and fully CircuitPython. So we're using the new BLE.io capability for the NRF52840, our Feather that is CircuitPython and Bluetooth compatible. And a good first demo is, can you turn on set neopixels with a color picker? Can you control a robot? JP was able to get it working. Good demo. So far so good. We'll be doing more BLE projects with CircuitPython coming soon. Brent made a nifty wireless dual stepper control application. So you have two steppers and control it through a dashboard. You can select the steps, whether you want them to step forward or backward, the stepping type. So it could be good for like a mechatronic projects. Of course, you don't have to use a dashboard. You can use REST or MQTT to push this data as well. And then a Raspberry Pi with a motor hat takes that data and controls the two steppers in threads. So you can have both steppers happening at the same time as well.
And that's part of our Adafruit IO service. It's free for everyone. There's a pro version for people who want to pay for it so they can do a lot more. But it's also one of those other things that helps supports the company. So we have a monthly subscription, or you can just pay for the year. We have these cool cards now too. So that's
Indeed.
Okay, what else?
We also got Getting Started with Steven Universe by Takara, who, people wondering like, what is this cartoon and why should I watch it? Well, Takara is a fan and has written all about it, and also points out all the great projects and some inspiration for some projects as we do our partnership with Cartoon Network. So if you're just getting started and you want to just like get like the spoiler of all the characters and what they do and what's going on, read this guide, and it'll also give some context to some of the projects we've been doing. Dano made a robotic xylophone. Everybody sees these xylophones, first thing they want to do is connect 8 solenoids to it and have it play some tunes. Well, he did that, and he shows you how to build the circuitry to safely control 8 solenoids by soldering up transistors and kickback diodes as well. We've got the Obsidian sword, which we'll show off shortly, and Make It Pulse. This is, we mentioned this, it's a pulse sensing CircuitPython code that you can use with Circuit Playground Express. Use the light sensor and a NeoPixel to detect how much hemoglobin is in your blood, and that basically tells you your heart rate.
Okay, and since there's a relevant question for this stuff, Dave had this question here. Is that when you...
Did I take 6B with Sussman? Yes, I did. And not only that, but I TA'd 2 terms. And my text adventure was like, got the winning prize.
Yeah, maybe you can explain the folks.
I'm
what you're
like,
talking about.
this is my moment. This happened.
Yeah.
This happened like 20 years ago, so I'm going to brag.
So this is at MIT, and you.
It's a class.
And what was the programming language?
It's in Scheme.
Okay.
And the final project is write a text adventure. And so nobody else, everyone in the class was like, I don't know what this is. And meanwhile, I'm like Infocom super fangirl. All I wanted to do my entire life was write a text adventure. So I wrote the most epic text adventure. I have to find it. I still have it somewhere. It had save game. It had like 30 or 40 different locations.
Put it on PyPortal?
Yeah, maybe I will. Maybe I'm going to go find it and re-implement it.
Okay.
It'll be in the terminal. And I won the first prize, which means I don't remember what I got. I think they just embarrassed me.
You got first prize.
I think I just got first prize. And then because of that, they asked me to TA for 2 terms. So I TA'd. I wasn't a great TA, but I was okay.
Okay.
My students did all right.
All right. That's cool. All right. So those are the guides for this week. Made in New York City, some factory footage. Take it away, Adafruit Factory.
Woo!
All right, and we have some other ones. This is the pick and place feeders.
Ooh.
And we have
Yeah.
this little.
You can see all the
Fish
feeder
islands.
remainders, then you have to clip them off, otherwise they get all on the floor.
Yeah.
Like little hairs growing out of the pick and place.
Yeah, all the parts
Little nose hairs.
go in. And then,
The feeder tape comes out.
yep. This is the stencil.
Matches up with the circuit board.
Yep. And then this is us with the stencil paste. Goes on the stencil, and
Looks so
then
elegant.
you squish it down.
And then, yeah, the squeegee goes
Yeah.
past it.
Yeah, the parts of engineering are beautiful, but it's always so hidden, and that's one of the reasons we like to show these videos. Is this looks beautiful. This is like an art project. It is an art project, and we're all part of the art project called Adafruit. Here is the sunrise outside the windows of the pick and place and the stenciler.
I can see like the moon.
Yep.
What a nice clear day.
Okay, 3D printing. We'll get to new products in just a bit. And 3D printing this week on Patreon. We have 2 videos, and we're going to show them off right now. We're going to do the normal video, and then we're going to show the sped up printed video.
Okay.
So take it away now on Patreon.
Obsidian sword away.
In this project, we're building Obsidian Sword from Steven Universe. This thing was forged from foam core and has a NeoPixel LED strip making it super bright. Get the parts to build this project, links are in the description. Use Adafruit's Circuit Playground and Microsoft's MakeCode to program the LED strip. You can drag and drop code blocks or write JavaScript to make it interactive. Download our free template and cut the shapes out of foam core. The main pieces are layered together with hot glue. A sheet of white paper will diffuse the LEDs. Additional layers are laid on top and the cover is press fitted so it's removable. The NeoPixel strip is placed in the center and wedged in between this groove. Use alligator clip extension wire to lengthen the connections. A paper towel roll acts as the handle and press fits over the tang. Wires pass through the handle and out of the pommel. The battery pack is fitted inside the handle. Insert the pommel and place the circuit playground on top. Alligator clips make it easy to connect. Additional layers can be added to the slits in the pommel cover. Print the grip texture and wrap it around the paper towel roll. Cut out the cross guard and layer the texture on top with glue stick. Secure the front and back layers onto the grip using hot glue. Be sure to check out the Learn Guide for this project. We hope you master your technique and fuse your skills to help protect humanity. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more projects from Adafruit.
And don't forget, 3D Hangouts every Wednesday with Noah and Pedro. You can learn how to make all this stuff and more. I have, it's almost time for AdaBox, so I got some clues. There's some stuff. Maybe it's outer space rainbow related.
What
maybe
is happening here?
Maybe there's
Is it a hat?
Just, it could be time and space morphing into one.
We're gonna give
Or
people a
maybe
black
there was
hole.
one all along. It's just almost AdaBox time, and we don't have. So we only have so many that we can do, and people resubscribe. So there's less than a couple hundred slots left. We don't really.
And they go fast.
Yeah.
Especially near the end when people are like, hey,
So if you haven't already, go to
Yeah.
adabox.com if you're thinking about getting one. I can tell you it's going to be probably our best AdaBox yet, because that's what's happening each one. All right, Lady Ada, it is almost time.
yes.
Don't forget, folks, codes vote Lamar. Let's do this. All right, what's new?
Okay, what's new is we got some cool things from UUGear. We've got, this is kind of an update change-orific thing here. We've got the 04U, which is, well, it's a USB. I guess what's what the U stands for. It's a 4-port USB hub. And this is a version modification. It's a little bit lower cost than the one we've already got in the store because it doesn't have the pogo pins on it.
I'm going to go to the other end.
So let me show you. So this is a hub, and basically you get a mini B, not micro B port here, or you can power it through this XH connector. It's got 4 standard USB 1 or 2 ports. And this is in comparison to, let me show you what we have that's in stock, because it's a little different compared to this. The one we stocked already has pogo pins. See these pogo pins that stick out? When you have a Raspberry Pi Zero, this attaches to and hits these pogo pins here, and so it fits on the bottom, and then it connects to the USB that way. This version does not have those pogo pins. So you see, like this one doesn't have anything on the bottom, it's flat. So you can still get to those pads. They're here, so you can solder wires, but it's a little bit less expensive because it doesn't have those pogo pins, which need to be hand assembled on, and also it's much flatter. So if you want to have this on top and then you have a little cable instead of the pogo pins, or maybe you want to have it side by side and you have some wires, either way, it's actually kind of like a nice low-cost hub, and it's customizable and you can hack it if you like. So check it out, the 04U without pogo pins. And if you do want the one with pogo pins, we also stock that one as well.
Okay. Next
Also from UU Gear, we have the Zero to Go Omni. This is very neat. It's a very well designed piece of hardware. It's an add-on for your Raspberry Pi. It's, it looks like a Zero, like a bonnet, but it can work with any Raspberry Pi because it connects only to the headers, doesn't have jumpers. And this one is a triple input buck boost power supply. I think it goes from like 3.5 up to like maybe like 20 volts or something, maybe even more. Check the tech specs for the exact voltage range. If the voltage input on, whatever the voltage is highest on the 3 inputs, their diode selected, it'll pick that one. So it'll pick the highest voltage automatically for the converter. And if the voltage is below below 5 volts, so it's 3.5 to 5 volts, it'll boost that voltage up to 5. And if it's above 5 or so volts, it will buck the voltage down. And it can do about 2 amps either way. So you've got like quite a powerful power supply, and you have like a really wide range of inputs. So one input is a micro USB. So I'll show this off because there's actually so much going on here. There's a micro USB input. This is one of the inputs. Now again, even though it's a micro USB shaped, it doesn't have to be 5 volts in, but like it's kind of intended for, this would be connected to a power pack, like a wall adapter. The next input number 2, has a 2.54 millimeter, 0.1 inch pitch JST XH connector. So you can, fit a 1.1 inch connector in here, or you can get a proper XH connector. Those are available online. And the third one is this one that it's a terminal block. You press it on these to release the terminal wires, but they're snug in here now. And this one is just for any wire, stranded or solid core. And it's normal bonnet style, so it comes with standoffs, and you just plug it right onto your Raspberry Pi. I'll note, and they mention, if you're using this with a Pi 3, you'll want one of these lifters, because this sits so low against the board that on a Pi 3 it'll actually kind of like bump into the camera connector. So you would use this in between to make it less skinny but work better on a Pi 3. Regardless, here's the 2 converters. There's one buck and one boost. There's also an ATtiny84 in here. This microcontroller is pre-programmed with different functions you can control over I2C, and they provide software for that. So you can set different like warnings. You can like I think you can read the voltage and stuff, maybe even the current usage. And it can control things like this LED. This LED tells you whether it's in buck or boost mode. It can also tell you whether it's on. Like right now it's off. And then when I press the button, it acts as an on-off button. It turns it on. So you can control that functionality, whether it's normally on, normally off. Check the manual, because there's a lot of details, and I'm not remembering all of it perfectly. Basically, 3 inputs, about 3.5 to like 20 volts each. Whatever the highest one is, buck or boost in, gives you 5 volts, 2 amps out. Will power up your Raspberry Pi, and then microcontroller over I2C for customization if you want it.
Okay.
Very handy.
Tonight, the star of the show, besides our community and you, Lady Ada, is it's a series of things, and there's just 3 different colors.
There's 3 different colors, but they look almost the same here. That's why I'm going to show them on the overhead. It's a Charlie Plex bonnet.
This is the green one. This is blue one. This is green one.
I know, you can't really tell. You look at the date code. This is actually from a year and a half ago, and I just kind of never got around to making these.
Yeah.
I made this kind of after the Charlie Plex wing, and it's a 8x16 IS31FL31. What's the part number? 3731 Charlie Plex controller. We like these. Use them in breakout boards and feather wing, and now we have it in a bonnet size. So I could fit 8x16 LEDs, which is actually good because there's a lot of fonts that are about 8 characters tall. 16 characters wide, and each LED, it's single color, but it's 8-bit PWM resolution, so you can have multiple brightnesses, which lets you do really cool effects. And
we have 3 different colors, and on our website, if you go to the page, you can choose from blue, green, or warm white.
And you might be wondering what happened to like red, yellow, and cool white, and the answer is we didn't have enough LEDs. You need a lot of LEDs to make these, and so we decided to wait till we got more. But to get these started, start with the first 3 colors.
Looks like.
So I have it here. So even though it's a bonnet, of course you can use it on a Raspberry Pi 3. This is the green. So you can see here that cool dithery effect. That's from the different brightnesses. So I select, I think, 1 out of 16 different brightnesses. And you can also see it does font scrolling very well. It all happens over I2C, so it's really easy to adjust. And then I can, this is green, and I'm going to be terrible and maybe hot swap.
While you're hot swapping, show how many days are left till PyCon.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah, put that on there, because...
By the way,
Okay.
53 days, 11
Still have some
hours
time.
of time. You still have time. All right, let's see if this totally breaks everything. I'm not supposed to do this, but I'm a bad person. Okay, so let's try, I think this is the warm white. And then just give me a
What's
moment.
what's PWM frequency?
I don't call. Check the data
There's
sheet.
a request for Adafruit pink down the road, too.
I would like to get pink LED. I should probably get. So this is, I think, this is the cool white. I think. Or maybe this is the warm white. These must be the warm white. So very similar, but it's white instead of green.
Okay.
And then let's see if I can find. Oh, maybe I didn't bring the blue one. Oh wait, this is blue. We'll show off the blue one, and then we'll have other colors shortly. We're just starting with these. My Python code's like, why did the I2C device disappear? And this is blue. So
Okay.
3 different colors, 8 by 16, 128 LEDs total. And the lovely thing is it works with our CircuitPython library. So you can use our CircuitPython code and use frame buffer to do text and drawing and stuff. And then you can use Pillow to make a frame buffer with whatever you want and then like display that into the display. And you just write the whole thing out as I2C.
All right.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Okay. Let's do a
Recap.
new product recap.
Okay. We've got the 04U. It's a 4-port USB hub. We have a version with pogo pins. This one does not have pogo pins. You can solder to the data in pads or use the mini B connector to make a 4-port hub. The 02Go Omini is a Pi add-on. You can use it with a Pi Zero or any Raspberry Pi with a 2x20 header. It comes with 3 inputs, micro USB, JST XH, or terminal block, 3.5 to 220 volts or so. Input on any 3 of them. It'll automatically select the highest one and then buck or boost it to a clean 5-volt 2-amp to power your Raspberry Pi so you can turn it into an uninterruptible power supply and such. These bonnets are for your Raspberry Pi and feature the IS31FL3731 Charlie Plex LED controller, 8 by 16 LEDs available in warm white, green, and blue right now. And you can do all sorts of cool scrolling text effects or LED swirling effects with 8-bit PWM per LED. And that's the new products. Recap.
Okay. Don't forget, anything we have in stock, use the code before you check out. And don't forget to vote for Lemoore also on the Red Hat site. People are posting that link in the chat. If you could post again, folks, appreciate it. But that's why the code is vote for Lemoore, because there's only a couple days left to vote. We have some top secret from the Adafruit Vault.
Oh, these are some secrets.
Yeah, this is the big deal. So this week, and you can start loading up your questions in Discord because we're gonna get to questions. But what is this, Lady Annie?
This is kind of a Pi badge. Like it's a credit card shaped gaming platform, maybe a badge platform. Speaker and battery, a 1.8-inch display. Phil B and I have been hacking on making the front compact and easy to use, but it's credit card size. So like, how much can you fit in a credit card and have it run CircuitPython?
All right. Then you have another thing that you're working on here. What is this?
This is the second rev of the Metro M4 Wi-Fi. We're getting closer to finishing it up, but we've been doing so much with embedded ESP32 Wi-Fi. Having a Metro would be great, right? I mean, it would be.
This would be a
Shield compatible Wi-Fi CircuitPython dev board.
So it'd be like an M4.
It'd be an M4.
And then it would be an ESP32 for the Wi-Fi. It'd be a Metro Arduino form factor.
Yeah, on-off switch, LEDs,
right.
onboard storage.
We need to come up with a name for this. So
we do.
So the idea is like it's a wireless train. It's a flying train. So post up your ideas in the chat and let us know what you think. It's the Wi-Fi Metro, so wireless Metro, wireless train theme. And
Come
what
up with
that
your names.
is top secret.
That's right.
Back in the vault.
Back in the vault with you.
Okay. post your questions up in Discord, adafruit.it/Discord. We're going to start answering them. We already have some questions lined up.
Okay, hit me.
Yeah, we're running a little over tonight because there's a lot of stuff going on.
There's lots
and we started a little late from the show and tell. Okay, a couple of months ago, I wanted to use the TFT Feather Wing, 2.4-inch 320 by 240 touchscreen for all feathers, and was told there was no support for the touchscreen, no graphics touch support. Has this changed? Can they do text graphics and touch now, or how soon?
Very soon. The touchscreen is supported through the STMPE6XX or whatever library, but for graphics, Display.io is still kind of coming along. 4.0 release, I think, or very soon after, you'll be able to use it. We will definitely let people know, but we want to have people have a really good experience, so we're going to wait until it's like ready and then release into the wild.
Yeah,
and
so
you'll get all the stuff that you've seen with graphics, like the font support and the terminal, all that. You definitely want to do it right, and we want to do it right.
some names for the board people are coming up with. Maglev, yeah, I was thinking of that one. And then also Python trolley. Okay, I'm building a let's see, key wireless portable charger using direction provided by Adafruit, and I've successfully been able to charge my devices with the micro USB cable plugged in. However, when I have the battery plugged into the JST port on the PowerBoost 1000C and the microboost power source to remove, the board entirely shuts down. The battery does not appear to be charging or provide power in any way. Any suggestions?
Yeah, I don't know. That is odd. I mean, if it's working, I mean, I would say try removing the key part at all and just see, can you charge the battery and use that with the power boost. If not, your battery might be damaged. Check the voltage on it.
Yeah, also post up in the forum. You might want to see some photos of front and back just in case. That might be a good spot. Discord's good for the real-time stuff, but forums is where you could do.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think.
Look at the board.
It's tough to know. Sometimes people use batteries like, I didn't use an Adafruit battery, I used some other battery. And I'm like, well, it's the wrong voltage or something.
Okay, rapid transit was another.
Ooh, that's a good
suggestion.
one.
Okay, there's also the monorail.
Monorail.
Next up, the LEDs on the CharliePlex Pi boards. Which color is lowest power?
It does not matter. It's all linear.
Okay.
So any LED will be exact same amount of power.
Let's see. Oh, so the thing that powers those things, M4 and ESP32, and finally Wi-Fi CircuitPython board that mounts the drive. Yeah.
Correct.
Exactly.
Okay. We just need a good name for it.
Yeah.
Come up with your names.
Okay, let me see if there is any one. Metro SkyTrain, Hovertrain,
Hovertrain.
Hovertrack.
SkyTrain is kind of funny because I always have I always think of Skytran, which is like it's always like the airport train system.
Okay, and then I had a reminder for a question that was asked earlier.
Yeah.
So what is going on with the Adafruit team that's going to be at PyCon? I'm glad you've asked because there's how many days left, Lydia?
Sorry, let me just check my PyPortal.
Yeah.
It's
right.
53 days, 11
So
hours, and 47
if
minutes.
you're there, the CircuitPython, you could just leave it there.
Oh, sorry.
The CircuitPython team will be running several open space sessions, as they did last year, showing how to use CircuitPython on the DigiKey Adafruit PyCon Special Edition CircuitPython Circuit Playground Express. This is what we're doing there.
Circuit.
The team will be running a CircuitPython sprint for several days to work on CircuitPython libraries and CircuitPython core code. It's BYOM USB. Bring your own micro USB. We'll have some, but also you might want to bring your own and maybe a USB-C adapter. That's a good idea, too.
There's only 46 minutes now.
Oh, yeah. All right.
Sign up.
Let's see if any other questions come
Go
in.
to PyCon. Get your tickets.
Let's see. What about Metro Off the Rails?
Whoa!
Off the Rails is pretty good.
Derailing.
Oh,
I don't know.
Bullet Train, Metro Midnight Express.
Midnight Express is pretty good.
Wi-Fi Wagon.
Wi-Fi Wagon.
This is the.
Quetzalcoatl?
Yeah, that one's.
I don't know.
Okay. Is there a better header to use the new power board that would let me use the e-ink board above it?
I think a stacking header for that power bonnet we just showed. I think use the 2x20 stacking header. I think that'll work the best for you because that way you can stack on top of it. That's what the stacking header is for. And the power board, it definitely has the through hole style, which if you notice all of the boards that I'm making recently, they all have that you can plug through them, and so it's easy to stack on top.
Yeah, there's
that's the new style.
Switch Yard Metro, Cannonball.
Cannonball.
Nice. Okay, any thoughts if USB Type-B receptacles commonly seen on larger computer devices like printers will continue to be used for new designs? Well, we're not going to use it, but I was asking you about that a while ago, like why are printers always using that? But
I think it's just because they have the space and they're not constrained, and those are really cheap connectors. That said, I do think that long term, people want to use high speed USB, and as printers get higher resolution, they'll probably move straight to USB-C. But also, like people, they're big, and like you want a big connector on something like that. I think USB-C would be the next step, but I wouldn't be surprised if they stick with USB Type B, the chunky style, for a long time.
yeah. All right. What do you want to give away?
Good question. I thought we would give away one of the bonnets.
Okay.
Maybe we'll give away. I still think I don't know which color is which. How about 3467?
3467. Okay.
Whichever one that is.
What
Green and blue. LED bonnet.
What are the rules?
Rules are you can't win if you've won already before. Only one winner per my lifetime. Please let somebody else have a shot at getting a wonderful prize.
What do I gotta do?
The prize tonight is the Charlie Plex bonnet. All you have to do is call the phone number that appears on your screen. You'll have to decode it into numbers. And I'm going to pick up the phone. I'm going to say ahoy, ahoy. And that's how you know it's me. And then you're going to say hello. And then I'm going to say, what's your name? Congratulations, what's your name? Where are you calling from? Answer those two questions. And then you basically win the prize. I'm going to ask you what's a project you're working on or you want to work on. And then we'll like make some small talk for like 30 seconds. And then you'll email support and win your prize. So call this number. Make this Radio Shack phone ring. Only call if you haven't won before already. You don't have to have a name for the new Metro M4 Wi-Fi, but if you do, now's a good time to pitch it.
You could win.
You could win a colorful bonnet. And even if you don't have a Raspberry Pi, you can wire it up to any other device. It's I2C, and it'll work with Arduino. So don't feel like if you don't have a Raspberry Pi, you can't use it. Okay, the phone is rung once, but I wait twice.
All right.
2 rings. All right, I'm going to pick it up.
Yeah.
Ahoy, ahoy.
Ahoy, ahoy.
Ahoy, ahoy, congratulations. You have won the trivia question. Well, you're close to winning because you managed to call the phone. What's your name and where you're calling from?
My name is Brian, and I'm calling from Fort Lauderdale.
Wow.
Hey, Brian.
Brian from Fort Lauderdale. Congratulations. You are the winner of a product number, what was it again? 3467? Yeah, you win the 3467. All you have to do is email support@adafruit.com and say, hey, it's Brian from Fort Lauderdale. It's not snow.
Hold on one second. What do I have? Email again?
Support@adafruit.com.
Support@adafruit.com.
Yeah, support@adafruit.com, and tell them it's Brian and I won the prize. It's a 3467 Charlie Plex bonnet,
Yeah.
and they'll send it to you. So once you've written that down, let me know.
Is it say support at Adafruit.com?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Ask him what he's making.
And
Great.
What does the subject be?
Oh, I won.
I won.
I won.
I
Okay,
won. You're the winner. Gloat a little bit.
You won.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
What are you making?
So what's a project you're working on or you want to work on? What are you making?
I want to make something for my daughter. Something like interactive from. She's only. She's gonna be 8 months. But
Wow. Congratulations. I hope you're getting some rest once in a while. Yeah, she might like a beautiful sparkling LED toy. I think that could be kind of fun. I can't wait
sure.
to hear more about what she's making when she gets old enough. And if you build something cool, take a photo, maybe send it over, and we'll post it on our blog so people can see your cool project.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Okay, Brian. Well, congratulations to you and your family. And don't forget to email support to get your prize.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Good night, Brian.
Good night.
Okay.
All right. That was the trivia question.
Sweet.
Okay. Well, that's the show. Epic night tonight. Thank you, everybody. The code is Vote Lamore. And don't forget, I'll post a link at the very end of the show to go to the Red Hat site to vote for Our Lady Ada. There's only a couple more days to vote. Lady Ada has a lot of open source code. You can see all of it on GitHub. So I think you qualify for the open source award.
There's a lot of open source.
I think this is true.
Almost everything on the show is open source,
It is true.
and we wrote.
Yeah. So thank you very much, everyone. We're here every single week. We'll be back next week, 8 p.m. Don't forget, show and tell, 7:30 p.m. We will be posting a lot more stuff throughout the next week. Lots of new products coming up. There's lots of things going on right now. It's fast and furious.
And if you're
as I
thinking
said.
about this Pi Portal, sign up, because they might be hitting the store soon. And you want to
knows?
be first on the list.
And let's see, this is a live Pi Portal project, so that's grabbing the time over the internet.
I know.
It's
Now-
telling me how many days I have left before I got to ship some stuff to PyCon.
We have to ship a lot of circuit playgrounds. That's how long we have.
And then the other one there is, so that's what it looks like when it reaches its event date, and you can see that's the CircuitPython team. I just carry that around with me sometimes.
I know.
So, hey,
well, it's
guys.
Blinka.
How's it
Kattni,
going?
Dan Scott.
So thank you, everybody.
All right,
we'll
thanks,
see
everybody.
next week. Thanks for a fantastic show tonight, and once again, just another reminder: watch these shows and listen to some of the folks that are in the show and tell, especially, and what they're doing and what they're sharing is really helping a lot of people, whether they know it or not now. It's just really neat when you do open source software, open source hardware. There's something magical about that combination.
It's true.
So thank you so much, everyone. You can check out Discord after the show and 24/7. And you can also check out Python Discord if you want to learn some Python in general. And there's also a microcontroller channel over there. Thank you so much, everybody. We're going to
Go to sleep.
go to sleep now. I'm tired. Okay, here's a moment of Xeno.
Good night, everybody.